All right, we'll call this regular council meeting to order for May the 25th at 3 p.m. And I please ask Councillor Russell to do the land acknowledgement.
Thanks, Mayor Barkley. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to welcome the public members in the gallery today, and of course our special guest, the Ingham family, and we will get to the presentation in 5.1. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor Barkley, we would add in-camera item for organizational scan pursuant to MGA 197.2 and ATIA Section 29.
Okay, thank you. Could I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Councillor Russell.
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barkley.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. We'll move into 3.1, the regular council meeting minutes for May the 11th. Just need a motion, please, to adopt those as presented. Councillor McKellar.
Mayor Barkley, I'll move to the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any changes? No, all in favor? Carried. And then 3.2, the agenda and priorities meeting for May the 19th. Just have a motion, please. Councillor Hystad.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
All right, thank you. Any changes? Seeing none. All in favor? Carried. All right, well, next we will move into celebrating 110 years of business with Ingham Jewelers. So I'll just ask you to come up to the front here and we'll do a presentation. Okay, well, on behalf of Innisfail Town Council, and I'm going to say the whole town of Innisfail, congratulations on an amazing 110 years. What an incredible milestone that we're now on 4th generations, I guess maybe tipping on 5. You can get the young ones involved, but known you a long time, and I think back to the days when I was young, and your dad Garth, Tracy, and your mom Laura, and going to the jewelry store all the time to buy something special for people in the community, whether it was anniversaries, birthdays, or something special my dad wanted to pick out for my mom. So I think the 110 years is a reflection of the commitment you've had to your clients and your customers, and just to this community in general. And it's a huge honor for us to be able to celebrate this with you. So I will give you this as a certificate, and then this is a glass piece, and it's etched with Ingham Jewelers, established May 16th, 1916. 110 years.
Thank you.
We thought it might fit into some other glassware that might have. So there you go, Joanne or somebody. It's heavy.
Thank you so much, Jean and Council. And it's been an honor to serve the community for this long. I'm sure my grandfather never dreamt that it would go on that long. Been a lot of hard work, some tough times, but we're very grateful for Innisfail, the great place to have lived and raised a family, and the surrounding communities as well. So again, thank you on behalf of myself and my family and the whole store.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And sorry that Brian's not here, and Carly and Jeff. We'll see them.
Yeah, he'll
eventually.
probably come in as we're leaving.
Yeah, maybe. Just turn that around a little bit, Joanna. There, that's,
That is beautiful.
Well done. Good. Can we more?
Okay.
Thank you. Put it in this box. You want to gift wrap it?
Yes, but you're really telling me to do it myself.
Yeah, I would. You're the best at it, that's right. There you go.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Of course. That's your best.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks so much, everybody. Such a pleasure.
Johnny, work now. All right, we will move into our public hearing. So I hereby declare the public hearing relating to Bylaw 1747-2026 open. And the order of this public hearing shall be introduction of the bylaw by administration by Manager Shaw. Then I'll call to hear from anyone in support of the bylaw, and we'll then call to hear from anyone in opposition of the bylaw. So welcome, Manager Shaw. I will let you take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So Council has before you Bylaw 1747-2026, which is the new land use bylaw to replace the existing 1470, which was adopted by Council in 2009. So Council gave approval to the first reading of Bylaw 1747-2026 at its April 27th, 2026 regular council meeting. Since that time, an administration has advertised the bylaw, has also circulated it to Red Deer County, its administration for its review, and that they appreciated the opportunity to be able to comment on the bylaw. Happy to see about the ongoing collaboration between the town and Red Deer County, and appreciates the policy as set out in section 3.1 or 3.11-1 respecting referrals to the county. No other comments were received through the community notification period. We did receive some information from Alberta Health Services after this presentation was put together. No concerns expressed about the bylaw itself. They were just happy to see some elements related to environmental health that were included within the land use bylaw. So with respect to the summary changes, Council will recall a short time ago we did do an extensive overview of the proposed changes. So this really just presents a very brief summary of those changes. So Section 1, the purpose and application of this bylaw. These included moving some parts to other areas of the bylaw itself. So Sections 1, 2, and 3 were basically the administration components of the bylaw. And so between the existing bylaw and this one, what we have done is just rearrange the administration sections so that it was more consistent and easier to understand and to be more readable. So Section 2, interpreting it, the rules of interpretation section moved from Section 1 to this section. Definitions were split into two classes, definitions for uses and definitions for terms. In Section 3, the operations and administrative procedures, there were wording from Section 2.0, administration of Bylaw 1470 were moved into this section. Section 2.5, contents of a development permit application were greatly expanded. In addition to regulations applying to development applications, this section now also includes that apply to demolition of buildings and structures, signs, home occupation Class 2, landscaping and relocation of buildings, as well as the land use bylaw amendments and subdivision applications previously found in Section 2.5 of Bylaw 1470. Section 4.0, the general land use regulations. This does include a section on driveways and parking pads, more extensive than what we saw in 1470. So maximum width of a driveway should be the greater of 7.32 meters or 24 feet, or 60% of the parcel frontage as measured at the point where the driveway crosses the parcel boundary onto the boulevard itself. Maximum width for driveways in residential districts shall be 10.97 meters or 36 feet. The width of a driveway shall not exceed the width of a garage or carport to which the driveway provides access. And then also the maximum width of a driveway for the R1B district parcels in the Napoleon Lake South subdivision is the width of a garage or 40% of the parcel frontage. And then one item that was introduced was the residential front parking pads shall not exceed 4 meters at the front property boundary and shall only be permitted where the parcel has a minimum frontage width of 12.8 meters or 42 feet. Sign regulations, they basically stay the same. There is some basically housekeeping work that was done to make it, again, a little bit more readable and understanding. Some changes to formatting to be able to enable this. Land use districts, some individual uses were amalgamated into generalized uses. Residential districts referred to now to the type of dwelling. New industrial district included, which is the light industrial district. Roads with Schedule B, roads with restricted vehicular access. This schedule was referenced in Bylaw 1470, but was not included in that bylaw. And so now it has been included in the bylaw itself, okay? And then most diagrams were updated and colorized. Administration is asking council to consider a proposed amendment, and that is amending the maximum building height regulation within section 6.7, being a residential multi-unit district, R3, by deleting the maximum building height regulation of 9.5 meters, 31 feet, for the principal building within Lot 17B, Block B, Plan 922-2318, being 5128 56th Street. Maximum building height for other structures within this district are the following. An apartment can be up to 13.5 meters, 44 feet for a principal building only. Fourplex, 9.5 meters or 31 feet. And then all other uses as determined by the Development Authority. Rationale for the amendment. This is the largest subdivided and serviced parcel that is zoned for multi-unit development. It was considered in 2011 when a proposal for a low-density multi-unit development triggered an amendment to the land use bylaw. At the time, the parcel was zoned as residential multifamily R3 on the south half and public use district on the north half. Building 1470A7 sought to amend the property to residential multifamily district to accommodate the proposed use. And so you see here, the arrow indicates the property, and then you can see on the right-hand side, aerial photo of the property as it's now configured. So during the public hearing for the bylaw 1470A7, concerns were raised about the additional multifamily buildings in the neighborhood being unwelcome, safety of neighborhood children because of increased traffic, limited parking available on 56th Street due to increased traffic, changing single-family residential to multifamily. Council gave second reading to the bylaw, but amended it by including the following wording. Further, that the motion be amended to restrict maximum building height as referenced in the zoning bylaw in the R3 district, 31 feet for principal building only on Lot 17B, Block 10, Plan 922-2318. Be read second time in open council this 24th day of January as amended. Council then subsequently gave third reading to the bylaw with this amendment. The height restriction on this property has been in existence since the adoption of that bylaw. So in essence, what we're doing is that we limit the maximum height for a principal building on this property, and so it reduces the way in which it can be developed. The amendment to bylaw 1470A7 addressed the low-density multi-unit development on the subject property itself. Administration believes that there are checks and balances within the proposed land use bylaw that ensures neighborhood considerations are included in any review of a development proposal, including the use of open houses that allow for direct community feedback. There are some excerpts that are indicated in the PowerPoint presentation here, specifically section 4.5.11 and 2 general considerations. And then also in section 4.522 residential development. Infill development should be in keeping with the scale and character of the surrounding area, having regard to provisions of the prescribed district. One other item that administration wants to bring attention to council's consideration is regarding data centers. So data processing facilities are included as a discretionary use within the established industrial district and the industrial expansion district. This use is not listed as either a permitted or discretionary use within the privately serviced industrial district or the proposed light industrial district. Properties that are subdivided, serviced, and zoned as established industrial district could accommodate small-scale data processing facilities like the one proposed by Data District Incorporated in the town of Oates. Larger-sized data processing facilities like the Synapse large-scale data center proposed for the town of Oates require large amounts of land. Now, the North Area Structure Plan designates currently vacant land as future industrial. The land is currently zoned as reserved for future development district. A land use amendment would be required in order to rezone the land to an industrial expansion district. These lands are currently not serviced with municipal services. So just a little bit of background on data centers. Alberta currently hosts 53. Most of them are within 50 kilometers of Calgary and Edmonton. There are projects proposed in Oates, Bonneville, Pincher Creek, and the MD of Greenville. Provincial government, through its Alberta Data Center Strategy, desires to position Alberta as an alternative location for data center development due to a number of considerations. And that concludes our presentation to Council, Mayor and Council.
All right, thank you, Manager Shaw. Is there anyone who supports the bylaw and wishes to speak? No, don't see any. Is there anyone opposing the bylaw that wishes to speak? No? Okay. Are there any further comments from administration? Good. Any comments from council?
Mayor Barkley, I have one. Just a question related to the change in height on that property. Is there a proposed development, or is it just to align things the way they are throughout the rest of the area there?
Mayor and Council, there's no proposal on this property. What we are trying to do is to ensure that there's consistency between our three districts so that one is not favored over the other, or one has constraints over the other because of an artificial height restriction.
Okay. Anything else? I'll probably have some questions, but I think I'll ask them when we do the bylaw readings later on. That's okay? Okay. All right, so nothing further, so I will accept a motion then to please close this public hearing.
Mayor Barkley, I move to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Councillor Wing. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. All right, we will move into 6.1, Alberta Munis resolution request with Acting CEO Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Barkley. So providing the opportunity for council to consider a motion to formally second an Alberta Munis resolution regarding the LGFF. So council received an information report last week at their A&P meeting. The resolution relates to the timing of LGFF funding coming from the provincial government, asking the government to reconsider that to allow for costs to be paid up front to avoid those additional carrying costs or borrowing costs that can be associated with those projects. So the resolution's there for consideration if council would like to provide that seconding.
Okay, thank you. Should I call you CEO Jenkins or Director Jenkins? But thank you, okay. Please have someone make the recommended motion. Councillor Wing.
Thanks, Mayor Barkley. I'll move that council approves the town of Innisfail to formally second the city of Red Deer's proposed Alberta Municipalities resolution regarding local government fiscal framework funding cash flow reform.
Okay, any further discussion about this? It was discussed last week, so. Okay, all in favor? Right, carried. Then we'll go into 6.2 with the committee governance review.
Okay, so looking for a motion from council to award the contract for the committee governance review. An RFP was issued for a project to review and evaluate the town's current committee structure and develop recommendations moving forward. 10 submissions were received with prices ranging from $11,400 to $115,000. Administration completed a review and is recommending that council move forward with Strategic Steps, Inc. Council will be familiar with this organization that helped with our strat plan as well. They've provided sort of the phases or how the project will play out, and it is projected to be completed by the end of October this fall.
Okay, thank you, Director Jenkins. Could I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Hill.
Yes, Mayor Barkley. I'll make the motion that council directs administration to contract Strategic Steps Incorporated for the committee governance review project for $13,500, excluding GST.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on that? Don't see any. All in favor? Okay, carried. And now we'll move into the CAO report.
All right, so a couple of items in the report. So we have had discussion regarding facility tours for council members, for town staff, or for new councilors. So if we can provide dates to Juanita in June that don't work for people, we'll attempt to come up with some options. It would likely be a morning or an afternoon sort of block that we would look at doing and hit sort of the arena, curling rink, operations yard, and the fire hall. So, then there's also a request to consider the cancellation of the A&P meetings through the summer months. So there's a motion provided there in the report as well. In addition, there's discussion around a correspondence item from last week suggesting that council consider participating in an Alberta Utilities Commission hearing with respect to the data center in Olds. CAO Becker's provided an outline there suggesting that the municipality does not register as a participant in the proceedings, that we should likely have more thorough discussion of a position if we were going to participate in that way. However, if there's interest on behalf of councillors, you can easily register to get updates with respect to the hearing. That's all I have.
Thanks, Director Jenkins. So do you want to speak about some dates? I know it's hard to find a day for everybody, but what works better, morning or afternoon for people? Afternoon? Oh, Okay, and is there a day that, like a Friday, does that work?
I think if there's specific dates, if anyone's away on vacation or
Yeah.
those types of things, otherwise Juanita can send out a few options.
Fridays?
Fridays?
Does that work?
Okay.
For pretty,
Sure.
as good as anything's going to work, so maybe send some
Okay.
Friday dates and we can figure it out from there. Yeah, as far as the Olds data center, I personally don't feel that's our business to get involved in. The only thing that we would, I guess, really care about is the water issue, and that just doesn't seem to be an issue, so, you know, the AUC application is public record, and there are opportunities to go to Olds if people want to be involved, but I would caution council about getting too involved in another municipality's business of attracting investment, and I don't think we would like it if somebody was doing that to us when we were trying to attract investment, so. But,
So Mayor Barkley, if I can just speak to that for a minute. So I just need clarity around participant versus observer. And you pointed out we could go to that site and look at that information. I think it's good that we have the information. I'm not in favor of participating, just more as an observer and understanding what's out there in case we're approached by members in our municipality
about that data center?
about the data center or some
You
of
know,
their
it's-
concerns, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would refer people to Olds. That's where they should be taking their concerns. And, you know, it would be like the deep sky coming here. Are we going to have people in Olds who are upset about that, sending their councillors into Innisfail to champion that cause? And I just not sure that it's, in my opinion, just my opinion, that that's really appropriate. And if there was something specific that it was impacting Innisfail, like the water, power rates, then maybe that's different, but I don't think we've seen anything to necessarily say that's the case. Or I listened to the meeting yesterday from last week, and Councillor Wing spoke very well about the Water Commission, that there didn't seem to be any concerns there. So I think when they do the application, of course, the Water Commission would be involved, and I'm hoping that they're obviously doing their due diligence to on that end, but
Okay, I'm satisfied if we can look at the, you know, be able
well,
to
you can go
access
into
the-
AUC and look
Yeah,
at
I'm
any
satisfied
application you
then
want.
with that
Yeah,
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Not
that's
saying
fine
it's
with
easy
me.
to find, but but you can go digging. You can go digging. And I would imagine maybe there's more sessions coming up in Olds. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but I think the application is in now, again, to AUC, and so they're going through the process. So, okay, anything else? No? Okay, if not, we'll have a motion to cancel the Agenda and Priorities Committee meetings as per the recommended motion. Councillor Hystad?
Yeah, Mayor Barkley, I'll recommend that council approve the council summer meeting schedule and cancels the Agenda and Priorities Committee meetings on July 6th, July 20th, and August 4th, and August 17th, 2026.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Carried. And then just have someone please make the next motion. Councillor McKellar?
Yes, Mayor Barkley, I'll move that council approves the Chief Administrator's Officer report dated May 25th, 2026 as information.
Perfect, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. All right, we'll move into council action control. So if there's no questions about anything on these pages, I'll just have someone make a motion. Councillor Hystad?
Yeah, Mayor Barkley, the only question that I have, and I didn't know if it was going to be part of the budget conversation. I know the tax, I think there was the one information on the tax. We were going to educate, I think there was an education on the tax piece. So are we going to, I guess my question, Mayor Barkley, is are we going to address that separately from the budget, or that was my question, because it's still in there as a action control for May, I believe. So,
There has been communication,
okay. Where
but I think it's ongoing, is it? CEO or through to Director Vickers?
Yes, Mayor Barkley, and through to council. So we have made a focus of doing some additional tax communication almost on a weekly basis. We're
Okay.
trying to put another post out to kind of, we just added our tax calculator onto our website, so that was one of them, right? So we are trying to really focus and share that communication. There will be a report brought, I think, on June 8th regarding budget communication specifically and what that's going to look like through the summer and into the fall, and getting some guidance on what kind of event or what council would like to do for the public. So
Okay.
I think that might capture what you're looking for.
Yeah, thanks, Director Vickers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, we'll just have a motion that we approve council action control as information. Councillor Strong?
I will make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. We'll move into 7.1 with Director Vickers and the postage review.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barkley. So before you, I do have a report. We did a review on our postage information. This did kind of come up through budget, where council kind of wanted to know what kind of cost it took the town to kind of deal with physical mailing of documents. So that's what we've done. We looked at postage costs, mailing volumes, and also some trends related to some paper billing and electronic communications. And we've completed this review to better understand the operational impacts and costs associated with mailing services across the organization. And while electronic communication does continue to increase across the town and different departments, physical mail does remain a significant operational requirement for many of our processes. So we did look at several major areas, including utility billing, property tax notices, check payments, planning notification as well, and then as well some miscellaneous administrative correspondence. So utility billing just continues to represent the town's largest and most consistent source of outbound mail. This is just due to it being a monthly billing cycle and the number of active accounts that are on their account. You can see there we kind of started tracking in 2022 how many emails we sent out as an average. So this is likely from December of each year. And as you can see, we kind of are generating about 200 additional e-billing applicants kind of each year. And so based on that, about 46% of our utility accounts continue to receive paper billing, and that brings up to still generates over 20,000 mailed pieces per year. We have taken steps to help increase that electronic bill participation. So not only do we put out a consistent advertising for e-billing, probably at least once a quarter, we put that out electronically, but we've also actually updated some of our forms and have combined our utility application form and the e-billing form. So not only we kind of reduce some of that red tape by having them fill out multiple forms, but we're actually catching about 80% of the people who sign up for utilities. They automatically just sign up for e-billing now. So we're really generating most of them. And we do just want to note that we do actually have a charge for a paper bill, but this is specifically when someone who, typically it's a renter, they're actually getting 2 paper copies of that bill. So one would go to them and they're requesting a paper copy to also go to the tenant. In that specific case, we do charge $3 for that second additional paper copy. And we have, last year we had 2,037 secondary copies sent out in 2025. So it generates just around $6,000 for us. Property taxation does continue to rely primarily on paper delivery. So the Municipal Government Act did update or make an amendment in 2018 to now allow people to apply for and receive their tax notice by email. It took us a little bit of time. We had to get our finance system all set up, and we did change a policy in 2022 that allowed us to then formally start sending out tax notices by email. And you can see there that we have tracked for the last 2 years. It is slow, but we are starting to see some people. So we are going to take a focus and start generating more of that over the next couple of years. Check processing also remains a significant function because it's still that. Electronic payments continue to expand. Our finance system does not allow for EFTs at this time. So really our sole function to get payments out are by paper check, and we do have very, very limited, we can e-transfer type money, but that's very limited in what our scope allows us to do. So So you can see there that roughly the number of checks stay fairly consistent from year to year. We did see a bit of a drop in 2025. However, that was likely due to just internal process change when Canada Post was kind of going out. We maybe didn't do weekly check runs and bulked some checks in together, so maybe that's why we have a little bit of a dip. And when we do have our future financial software, which we'll be starting to undertake this year and next year, it will be a focus of that EFTs will be set up on the onset of that system. So we'll have to develop the process on what that looks like with vendors, but it will be an option immediately when we have our new stuff. Planning development services continue to use a combination of electronic communication and physical mail. Many planning circulations are now handled electronically. However, there's still some legislative, around 400 a year legislative planning notices that must be put in the mail. And then as part of that review, we actually did look across central Alberta municipalities and some other municipalities just to kind of see what their processes were. And we kind of identified a range of review. Some municipalities continue to provide paper billing without any additional fees. However, a growing number of municipalities have started to implement paper billing charges that generally range from about $1.50 to $2. Some of them I did try to put in the years, and some that say 26 may not even been fully implemented yet. It may be coming up sometime kind of this year. Administration then went on to complete an estimated per item cost of kind of what it kind of costs. Sorry, I skipped over our postage costs, I'm sorry. So we went back and looked at all of our postage costs. We did go back from 2017 and went up to what we've kind of already put in 2026. So you can see the cost is there. I understand it kind of jumps around a lot, and how it works is we actually take a lump sum and we load it onto our postage machine. So for example, the 2025 one, we did a large load right in December, so that's why it's kind of loaded in December, and then this year might only end up being 40,000, depending on how much it kind of goes through. And then we went on and looked at like what it actually costs the town to kind of put out what it looks like. So right now, this year in 2026, we're paying $1.23 in postage. The envelope and paper materials cost us 37 cents. Now this is for a single piece of paper, not multiples. The staff time, we kind of equated out to 42 cents. And what we did is we took our utility billing, equated that out into a total time spent for stuffing, and then equated that out into a single event, and it costs that. And then the equipment cost, that is our postage machine and our stuffer. So ultimately, per single piece of paper that we want to send out in the mail, it costs us $2.57. And unfortunately, I just looked up, the math did not follow through after an update was done, so it actually, the 246 has not been updated. So the math works, but that 246 just wasn't updated. So based on the average number of utility bills, tax notice checks, and other items, based on the 257 cost, it does cost us around $90,000 a year to kind of put out some postage. We're in around that just under $30,000 of mailed items going out in the mail. So overall, this review provides administration and council with a clear understanding of what our current mailing volumes are today and what those demands are. And kind of what that cost is to the town. Now, some of these costs are attributed into our utility department and some would not be. So some may be a tax implication and some may be a utility rate implication. So it could be split in between the multiple departments. I'll take any questions that council may have at this point.
Okay, thank you, Director Vickers. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Russell.
Mayor Barkley, first of all, I want to thank administration for the detail that's in that. It's great to see that. I think I brought this up during budget deliberations, and when I see this, I'm even more in favor of moving, maybe not on everything, because there's some things that we have to wait. We still have to mail them out by, legislation. But when I look at those utility bills, I'm not saying we eliminate the option for some people who wish to still receive a paper copy, but I do think it's time for us to move at some type of a fee like other municipalities have done for those who choose that method, because there is other ways to get that without it. So I would certainly be in favor of looking at putting a fee, and not tomorrow. Maybe we give 6 months' notice. We look at starting it in January 2027. But we certainly look at starting to phase that direction. And if they wish to still have the paper copy, it will cost them $2 or $2.50, whatever it might be. Right? So that's my position on it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hystad.
Yeah, Mayor Barkley, I agree with Councillor Russell. You know, I think there's opportunity here to save some costs and to charge for those paper printing itself. I know that staff is looking at that transition with the e-transfers as well, which will help with the checks. But yeah, no, I think there's opportunity here to save some money overall. So I'm in favor of it, but I would echo Councillor Russell's comment about waiting it out 6 months, you know, giving it time to do so. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barkley. Yeah, I would certainly support my colleagues on their comments. Is this something that we would consider in next year's budget as in that process, and then have a period of time where people have time to get used to the idea?
Yeah, Mayor Barkley, through to Councillor Wing, definitely, we would not want to implement anything like this right away. We would want to have proper discussions, likely through budget, and bring that up with the public through some budget discussions in August, September kind of thing, and then start putting out those notices. And whether that's a Jan 1 or even April 1st kind of timeline, we can do Q1 or Q2, but definitely we would want to give some notifications and give people some time to. Some people may not even have an email address that they would need to go set up.
That's
right?
that was going to be my next point, was how do we find out about that? And that there are lots of people actually in the community that don't have email or don't have access to email, and how can we work with them, whether it's through the library using the computers there or whatever it might be. But okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Russell, do you have more to add?
Yeah, just, I appreciate, we do need to give notice. I just don't want to have it too late. I personally would like to see it implemented starting fresh January in a new year rather than mid-year. And I certainly want to give people time to prepare, switch over, do the things. We provide education on what they need to do to get set up if they don't have an email account, you know. But just don't want to leave it too late so that if we're in budget discussions in September, October, and then we don't actually formally approve a motion,
Yeah.
we're up against a tight window to notify people. So I'd rather see a motion approved sooner rather than later to provide that ample time for people to prepare.
Mayor Barkley, through to Councillor Russell, you guys could give us a motion to direct us to bring something back.
I have a question.
Okay.
Tell me how you process e-bills.
So e-billing?
Yeah, how do you process that in the office?
So we don't do e-billing right now.
So well, I guess emailing a tax.
Okay, so we
property
would have
tax.
to, emailing a property tax notice, so we have in Diamond, we have a property tax roll file, and it's set up, and in the background, there's a place that we can do electronic notification, and it's a box we check here or here. One's paper, one's electronic.
Okay, so does that take staff time to go in and
Yes.
send that out?
It probably takes 10 minutes
Okay.
to make sure that, because they can have different emails for utilities versus taxes,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
5 to 10 minutes, it would
Okay.
take some time.
Okay, so there's still a cost to doing that as well, but.
But it would be a one and done. Once
Yeah.
it's set up once,
Yeah.
likely you wouldn't have to look at that every year over year,
Okay.
right?
Anyway, okay, personally not in favor of this, just because I think of the demographics in this community, and I don't like to stereotype older adults that they're not computer savvy, because many are, but many are not, and they don't want to be receiving bills that way because of a variety of reasons. Scams is one of them, and I also think you may be impacting as well lower income people who maybe don't even have a computer at home to access their bills, and now how else are they going to do it? So I think, yeah, there's a cost to doing business, and you know, I think you're making great progress in what you're doing, and we could, you know, in my opinion, we can keep going down that road and maybe focus on the tax bills and, you know, be as successful as that as you have been with the utility bills. But I think there's an element of people that cannot do this, to be honest with you. So, and we did receive an age-friendly community designation, what, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and we were so proud of that. Well, you know, does this fit into that? And are we looking after, are we citizen-centered and looking after our citizens when we're starting to charge them to get their own bill? Just my feelings on it. Anything else? No? Councillor Hystad?
Yeah, actually, Mayor Barclay, with your comments about the age-friendly piece, with that study that with designation that we were given, was there information and data on that with who's using technology, who isn't? I'm just kind of curious because I
don't think it was one of the boxes, Councillor Hystad, that we had to check off to get the designation, but
because I think there's a lot of folks that are online and doing it, and I would disagree with you in many ways.
okay.
I think there's more people online in the last 5 years than when we did the study on who's getting a paper and who isn't, and we haven't done that data or the information in the last 3-4 years. But I think that this is an opportunity for us. I think it's a missed opportunity. That's how I'm looking at it. And I think there's lots of people that are online and utilizing the tech as well as they can on their phone. There's more people on their phones getting emails than there was 5 years ago. And I guarantee it. That's why I'm asking if there's the data there.
I guarantee it too, and I think we've got the data in front of us.
That's why I'm asking if we had that with the age
We have
friendly.
it in this report, right?
That doesn't give demographics with ages though.
Oh, okay, gotcha, sorry, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think we have that at all, but anyway, doesn't matter, just my opinion. Councillor Hill?
Yes, Mayor Barclay. So having aging grandparents in the community, part of the transition is, I'm kind of sitting a little bit on the fence because I definitely understand the struggles that there can be because my grandparents don't have an email and they don't use any of it and it's very challenging. But I do know that for, supportive family members that are trying to, obviously help out family, it's a lot easier for myself to receive their email and make sure that their bill gets paid instead of having always track down a paper copy. So there is merit to both sides, but I do think that there is, I think that once you get to that, if you recognize that the technology is too much of a daunting task, I do think that there is other options that are out there to help them still follow that, so.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. I certainly respect your opinion, but I still do feel this is an opportunity. I don't think we'd be discriminating or putting anyone in a situation where they could not receive their bill. There is still the option, but there's that additional small fee associated with having that. There are many areas that have transitioned strictly to this type of online activity over the last over the last decade, and it's just going to continue to increase. And while I certainly respect that, I don't see it as us, I guess, discriminating or against a certain segment of our population. I think it's an opportunity. So, thanks.
I guess just a comment, if there is an appetite to want to look at this for sort of a January 1st, 2027, we should likely get a motion for administration to come back with those options, so a formal decision could be made.
Okay, so just a motion to direct administration to bring back options, Director Jenkins, is that what you want?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll have somebody make that motion, please. Councillor Wing?
Mayor Barclay, I would make that motion and directing administration to come back with some options on this particular topic.
Okay, all right, any further comments? All in favor? Okay, carried. All right, we'll move into 7.2.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barclay. So here we have our investment policy. So the purpose of this is just we're going to review and discuss with council the town's current investment policy. So our current policy was approved by council back in September 2023. and was established to establish the formal framework for the management and oversight for municipal investments. So the overall intent of the policy is to ensure municipal funds are invested in a prudent, responsible manner while balancing the three primary objectives. So the first one is safety of principal, and ultimately that means is that whatever money we are investing, that initial nest egg, we want to make sure that that's protected at the very least, and we get that back. We might lose our interest that we've earned, but at least our principal is being protected. So that our policy kind of focuses on maintaining our principal. So liquidity requirements, so we also have a focus on ensuring that our funds remain available for operational capital requirements. So we don't put 100% of our money in one long-term investment, that we kind of have things rolling, things that are coming due at different times, just so we can kind of have some of that liquidity kind of available to us. And then the final one is return on investment. So the policy is intended to support a reasonable rate of return, while also dealing with the acceptable risk. So we did establish some maximum portfolio limits, and we did this by institution, so that we kind of do this to kind of protect our file, so that anyone is not in any type of credit union or municipality that may or may not be as strong. You can see the top two, the Government of Canada and any single province of Canada. We are eligible to submit 100% in. They're just deemed to be the most kind of safe institutions. Municipalities, schools, and any health can get up to 40%. Credit unions are 60%, and any other financial institutions are 80%. And like I said, it's just a general risk, lower risk profile, for a government or province of Canada. We also want to establish the minimum credit requirements for each individual investment fund within the portfolio. And we're doing that just because we want to support a conservative investment approach. Again, our principal is kind of priority. So anything that has a BB, B plus or lower is actually, we're not eligible to kind of invest in those grades. So we have a minimum requirement of an A minus. And even at that A minus to A plus, we're only allowed to have 75%. So we have to always have an AA minus or higher. We have to have a minimum of 25% in our portfolio, up to 100%. And each issuer must be rated by at least 2 major rating agencies in order for us to trust kind of their rating. And how we're dealing with some of portfolio diversifications is that within the portfolio, not more than 10% of the portfolio may be invested into a single security. And then 25% of long terms, not more than 25, can be invested into a single issuer. And not more than 25% of short term may also, so only 25% outside of, again, the Government of Canada or a province of Canada. They are allowed to have up to 100% within the policy portfolio. These limits are intended to reduce any reliance on any single investment or any financial institution. However, this is, any of our operating bank accounts are exempt from this identifying, because they're really not invested, they're just sitting into our operating account. The policy establishes all of the administrative responsibilities. Ultimately, they flow through the CAO, and the CAO is ultimately responsible ensuring compliance with the policy, establishing any internal controls to safeguard our municipal assets. They are to ensure appropriate oversight and monitoring occurs, and then they are also responsible for ensuring that reporting investment activities happen to council at least annually. And just an advice for council that we do have a request for a proposal that will, it's not out now, but it will be out likely by Wednesday, I think is when it's going to be posted, and it will be posted to APC. As well, it will be hand delivered to a certain number of financial institutions. Each bank here within the town will get one emailed to them, as well as anyone who's kind of been inquiring about the policy. So, Wealthsimple, things like that. So I'll take any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you, Director Vickers. Anybody have any questions about this? Councillor Wing.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor Barkley, and through to Director Vickers. I'm interested in the comment or the line that says that the CAO would report to council on an annual basis, and wondering why we wouldn't be doing that quarterly along with our financial statements.
Yeah, to be fair, Mayor Barkley through to Councilor Wing, I'm not sure why it says annually. We
Yeah.
can take the policy back and update it to say within our quarterly financial statements, we can update that for sure.
I think that makes sense, and certainly that's what I've ever seen happen in other places.
Maybe it was just because some investments only come out annually, so I don't know, but we can definitely make that change to the policy to make it better comfort for council for sure.
Anything else? No, I'll just have a motion then, please, that we accept this report as information. Councillor McKellar.
Mayor Berkeley, I'll move that council accepts this report as information.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move into 8.1 and welcome Manager Shaw back up. And we'll get into our second and third readings.
Mayor and council, we have a report before you that details the information that was provided in the public hearing earlier this afternoon. This report gives a little bit more detail with respect to the 1470 A7 bylaw, and as well as a little bit more about the data centers. So administration has before you 3 motions for consideration by council. One that deals with that matter that was raised during the public hearing about the maximum height allowance for principal buildings within that lot 17B, Block 10, Plan 9222318. And as I indicated in the report, it goes into a little bit more detail than what I presented at the public hearing itself. But administration does believe that we have enough checks and balances proposed within the new land use bylaw that would deal with any proposal that came forward on this property or any other property that might be the subject of a land use amendment. And so administration is asking council to give consideration to that proposed amendment as well as second and third readings to the bylaw.
Okay, thank you, Manager Shaw. I would please ask for someone to make the first recommended motion. Councillor Hill.
Yes, Mayor Barkley, I'll make the motion that council amends bylaw number 1747-2026 by deleting the maximum building height regulation within section 6.1 residential multi-unit district R3 that limits the height of the principal building to 9.5 meters 31 feet within lot 17B, block 10, plan 9222318.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions about this? I thought you were, no? Okay. So question I have, Manager Shaw, is that 2 stories? Because you referenced a fourplex in the report. So is 31 feet basically a 2-story building? Counting the roof?
Yeah, by the time you go to a pitch, you'd be about a 31-foot. Some of the recent fourplexes that you've seen developed in neighborhoods, they would be in that range.
So it wouldn't accommodate a 3-story building, I guess is what I'm asking.
31 feet would not.
Would not,
The 44 feet,
Yeah.
that is sort of the standard across the R3, would get you to that 3-story.
Okay, so changing it, and you say there's checks and balances on place. If we have no height restriction and somebody comes along and it doesn't quite fit, but the developer is saying, but it does fit, we're doing everything you've said we could do in this bylaw, who's going to say it doesn't quite fit?
Mayor and council, if it didn't fit within the R3 district, then the applicant would have to look at, say, the R4 district to accommodate height. And so then that would trigger like an open house in which the neighborhood would be invited to provide comments, feedback on the proposal. And so that's why I was indicated. In terms of checks and balances within the process itself, but also within the bylaw, dealing with infill type development. We are sensitive in terms of what we have seen so far, and certainly having been to the town of Oates very recently, seeing the apartment buildings that are going up there, we certainly don't want to see that kind of activity happening without making sure that there are checks and balances available within the bylaw.
So in the R3 Manager Shaw, it's height 44 feet, and then number of units, or is?
There's also, density type requirements.
Okay.
And as Manager Shaw mentioned, there are additional sections in the bylaw that talk about things like sensitivity to neighboring properties. The size of this property does suggest that it could be a larger, sort of an apartment or that type of development as opposed
Condo or
to
something,
just a fourplex, yeah.
Okay, I'm just thinking about the sensitivity around that area, that we've had people come and the last couple of years and change the zoning on their lots and stuff, but okay, no, thanks for answering that. Anybody else have any comments about this? No, okay, so we have a motion, all in favor? Okay, carried. And then we'll have somebody please give the second reading on bylaw 1747-2026. Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barkley, I move that council give second reading to bylaw 1747-2026, being the land use bylaw as amended.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No, all in favor? Carried. And third reading, please, Councillor Hystad.
That council give third reading to bylaw number 1747-2026, being the land use bylaw as amended.
Perfect, thank you. Last chance, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you, Manager Shaw. All right, we'll move on to 8.2 and the art walk with Director Jenkins.
All right, so as council's aware, the Innisfail Art Club is hosting their Art in Nature Walk at Napoleon Lake this summer. The art club, as part of their delegation a couple weeks ago, has requested that the town consider the purchase of a permanent legacy piece to commemorate the event. They provided two options in their proposal. There's the By the Pond, which is the smaller steel and stained glass installation of the cattails, and that would be or could be installed near Napoleon Lake, likely along one of the trails, perhaps near the gazebo, somewhere far enough off the trail that it's not going to be too tempting for everybody to run and see if they can jump over it, that kind of thing, but close enough that you can see it. And then the second piece is the He Who Reads the Wind, which is the steel elk, which would be installed at the historical village. If council wishes to move forward, we've provided a couple of options. Sorry, I gotta find my page. Option one is $1,140 installed and could be funded within the 2026 operating budget. We could find that. Or option two, $3,200 installed, and we would pull that out of the general capital reserve if we went for that higher dollar value. So yeah, just looking for council to consider a motion if they so choose.
Thank you, Director Jenkins. All right, I will, Councillor Russell, you got your light on.
I do. I don't want to make a motion yet because I want to have a discussion first, because the motion will probably be related to the dollar amount that we choose. So I mentioned my concern about potential vandalism of the smaller one, which is still a significant cost. So personally, I'm in favor of spending the bit more and having it installed in a more secure location. Going with the option two would be what I would favor the most. I favor supporting them one way or the other, but option two, I would favor more.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hystad.
Thanks, Mayor Barkley. Yeah, I favor an option two. I may be an outlier on the discussion. I I don't think it does it any, it won't help the project to have it at the village. I think if there's something there, if we know a dollar amount as number 2, that we can work with the group, doing something very unique and secure at the lake, I think that will bring more meaning to the purpose of the art walk, rather than having it at the village. And that, so I'm fine with the dollar amount. I just trying to throw a curve knuckleball. Sorry, Mayor Barkley.
All right, Councillor Wing.
Thanks, Mayor Barkley. I actually would like this recorded. I agree with Councillor Hystad. I know, I have 2 really strong feelings about this. Number one, I felt strongly when we did our public art policy. I was disappointed that we didn't have a budget for whatever amount so that we could really promote that policy in the community. So I think this is a really good opportunity for us to make a really bold statement. And I agree from the perspective of having a more secure piece. I think our name attached to something really memorable on that walk. There's going to be hundreds and thousands of people, believe me, that are going to come to see that walk. And I think to not be there in a big, as big as we can anyways, way, I think that would be a mistake. So I will agree with my 2 colleagues and say, let's go big, but maybe let's see if they'll consider putting that elk down at the lake rather than in the historical village.
Okay, Councillor Hill.
Yeah, I totally do agree with wanting to have that exposure and being a little bit more grand and robust in our way of supporting them. But very much, I think the reason why I didn't want to support with the larger item was I don't know how it all ties together with Historical Village. Obviously, I was here for the presentation. I don't know if I missed something, but I just don't understand how that circles back to the Historical Village. I understand it's a gated facility and it would be more secure. And I don't know how big this item or how heavy the item is, but I don't know if it needs to come out for even for the feature and then potentially could be taken back, or if it's mobile or movable. I'm not sure. Maybe it could be on a skid of some sort and could be placed somewhere. I'm not sure, but just an idea.
Mayor Barkley, I wonder if it's possible to have that steel elk installed on some type of elevated, out of hands reach, and not easily climbable structure to protect it more if we were to put it down around the lake area. Just a thought. There may be a little more additional cost to do that, and I'm not sure if the club does their art classes at the Historical Village. If that was the time, I don't know. I don't know where they do them, but I think it may have been more on the security side of things. Is why they said that.
Councillor Keller.
Yeah, Mayor Barkley, I support item 2 as well. I'm just, when I hear the discussion here about where the elk should go, okay, I understand the security piece, but I also understand how it may not lend to the walk. So if there could be something worked out to where it could stay down close to the lake and be secure, I would certainly be in favor of that. And to Councillor Russell's comment about even if we could maybe invest a little more to mount it and secure it would be a good approach.
Okay, Councillor Hystad.
Yeah, I was just going to be cheeky, Mayor Barkley. I lived here when the Hereford Center had and the Hereford was taken away, and it was up on no, I think we can work. I think we can make this one work. I agree with my councillor counterparts. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm probably more for number 1, just because I think it's more natural for the area as opposed to a big elk. And we already have moose there, real ones. And I'm just trying to visualize what it would look like. And I know there's so many people that go down to that gazebo and they sit, do whatever, stare at the water. And maybe this would be another place for them to do that as well, around the stained glass cattail, please. I think it'd be absolutely beautiful sitting with the rest of the bulrushes around the lake as opposed to a great big elk sitting there, but
Would council like to see some other options from the art club at that, call it
Yes.
the $3,200 price range? That would be suitable.
or even 2,500 or something.
Yeah,
You know, some
but-
other options. Yeah, I don't know. Personally,
More by the
I try
lake,
to
though.
picture the elk sitting there, and I think how unnatural it would look. But,
Okay, we can ask them for some other
Yeah, maybe,
options, and
yeah.
that we would like to see the installation be appropriate down at
and I
Napoleon
think the
Lake.
secure portion is important. I know with the observation decks, how many times the benches have to get put back on, and one is permanently gone. But, you know, it's $7,000 when that left, so we want to make sure that, I never want to not do things because of vandalism, because you're just giving in to vandalism, but we also want to make sure we're not just throwing $3,000 out either, so. Is that okay with everybody? If we have some other ideas that come forward and, okay.
Was there a time-sensitive piece to this, though?
What's that, Councillor Hill?
Mayor Barkley, was there a time-sensitive piece to this, though? Was there?
The event does start later in June.
Okay.
We can chat with them.
Okay.
Both of these pieces are already constructed,
Okay.
so I would assume that they would be available, but same thing, those artists may have other pieces that could be better utilized, so.
Get Councillor Hystad's Hereford.
I didn't do it.
I'm not sure. All right, so do you want a motion, Councillor Jenkins, Director Jenkins, or just leave things as is and you will?
I think we
bring something
have direction
You're good?
and we'll come back.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thanks, everybody, for the conversation on that. Go into number 9, correspondence. I just want to bring to your attention the alley traffic behind 34th Street. So Mrs. Bennett sent me an email with this. I replied to her and included CO Becker on the email saying that he would contact her, have one of his team members contact from enforcement and get some information. So I'll pass it over to Director Jenkins, who can show us where this is and what has been put into place to try to calm some of this traffic down.
Okay, so we just have the map here so that folks who aren't necessarily familiar with the property we're speaking of, so where Juanita has her mouse there, you can just hover over there. And so the comment being that people are shortcutting down, sort of down the side of that lot and then cutting out to 52nd Avenue. I'll let Director Kennedy maybe give us some comments on what we're looking at to evaluate it and then potentially move on to some options.
Sure. So currently, we have the camera up to do some data traffic, just traffic measurement more than anything, just to determine just what is the traffic flow. As you can see, it's a fairly long back lane. I think the main concern is them coming off of 50th Street, I think it's 50th Street, 34th Street, and then turning is that volume of traffic. So what we'll end up doing is putting the camera up in that area and then just trying to find out what kind of traffic volume we have there. So we asked council that, we'll probably spend a month on this and get some data before we can do any reaction to what we could do to do some traffic calming if needed.
Okay, so that's an alley in there. Is it between the two? Yeah. Okay. So potential closeout? Potentially?
We would come back with some options for reducing kind of shortcutting through there. It's a tough one when it's located where it is. And really, it's the connection to 52nd Ave.
Yes.
There are some options out there, but not always friendly ones for everybody. So
Okay.
we'll come back to you once
All right.
we get
Enough
those
said.
together.
Okay. Councillor Heisted?
Yeah, Mayor Barkley. With some of these, there is some alleys that are lengthy in the community, and I can identify them. I was 16 once, driving like a maniac. But is there, to Director Kennedy, is there an option to have some, like posted signage saying it's 20 kilometers in an alley or 15 kilometers? I think it's 20 kilometers, if I'm right on that. So.
Yeah, our posted speed limit is 20 for our back lanes.
Yeah, and that's, I'm just thinking that, I think the direction of monitoring it is a good one, but also having some signage in those longer stretches in the back alleys. Those are my thoughts, thanks.
Okay, so that's looked after. Thank you, Director Kennedy. And parade season. So if anybody has an inkling to go to anything, just let us know. I usually do Innisfail, Bowden, and Penhold. But if people want to go further, please, by all means, feel free. I'll just have a motion, please, to accept the correspondence as information. Councillor Strong.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and we'll go into round table with Councillor McKellar.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Barr. I better turn on my mic. Thank you, Mayor Barkley. I attended 2 meetings. One was MCP, and at the time of writing, May 21st, I was at the Parkland Library Services Board meeting, which was a face-to-face in the Cove. And I have to say, I've never seen a board that large in my life. But there was a lot of discussion there. The audited, I want to just give a brief verbal report. The audited financial statements were approved, but a lot of discussion followed after that with the board around how they budget and how they need to look at their budgeting process. So the board's been directed, the administration and the executive committee have been directed to go back and look at their budgeting. Do they stay with status quo, or do they build budget scenarios incorporating their amortization, their long-term capital, and things like that? So that's to come back to us at our next board meeting, and it was very clear they move in that direction. We kept hearing throughout that whole meeting that was how the previous situation worked, and just trying to understand that better. So one of the things I did walk away from there very quickly in my mind is that they're planning budgeting, and I got a feeling they're going to be looking at requisition dollars, probably increasing in this coming budget term. The other piece that came up, of course, was Bill 28 and its impact on the Libraries Act. As you all know, that the Bill 28 had received royal assent. A lot of discussion, a lot of division amongst the board is, do we continue to advocate as they go forward with regulations, or do we not? The decision was made, the motion was made and carried, that the Parkland Regional Library System and the Coalition of Alberta Public Libraries will continue to advocate its efforts with Bill 28 in regards to the forthcoming regulations, which we anticipate will come forward in 2027. And that's my update.
So, Councillor McKellar, I know we spoke before about you had some templates for sending a letter. Did you still want, are we waiting on that? Because I know it's been delayed a little bit, but.
I'm thinking at this time, and further to our agendas and priorities of what we know and the report that was handed out last week, that I would say a letter at this time, no.
Okay.
I think let's allow to see where this goes. I will be asking the library board tomorrow night as to what steps they will be taking to advocate in relation to the regulations going forward, and then I can report that back. Perfect.
Thank you. Councillor Russell.
Thanks, Mayor Barkley. My report is there. Just want to talk about the Policing and Safe Community Committee. There was some concern expressed at the previous meeting about the enhanced security screening required for members of the committee. We were informed that our current committee is not subject to that. But when the term comes up, the new committee might be, so that could have an impact down the road. We'll see, just keep an eye on how that develops. But right now, it's not a concern, but it could be a year and a half from now. And there was a date set for the barbecue, and Councillor Hill, I cannot for the life of me remember the date, but I know it's in June sometime, and it'll be in the minutes, but is it the 8th? Okay, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Hystad.
Hi, Mayor Barkley. The only one that I'll add is I just had a meeting for the chamber brought forward yesterday. It's going to take place tomorrow, so that can be added, but I moved my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hill.
Yes, unfortunately, no report was submitted, but MPC was a meeting that I did attend, as well as the Police and Safety Committee, and I believe they're hoping, like the barbecue, to piggyback on a water event down at Centennial Park to hopefully, bump some numbers, even though it sounded like they got rid of 300 whatever last time as well. So, yeah, and then there was a little bit of discussion about just some panhandling and some busking kind of in the community, and it's obviously it's on the radar of Bylaw and RCMP, but it seems to be pretty harmless, and it seems to be in a spot where and times that aren't being too invasive to people's day-to-day functions, but it is something that they did report back on. So.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Strong.
Thank you, Mayor Barkley. The report is there. Just an update from the letter we received last week at the Agenda's Priorities meeting. The Minister, Grant Hunter, presented for about 35 minutes, and the old data centre certainly came up. There are studies to show that there's closed water loop, and I haven't done a lot of work on it. More water is used inside on the running of it for the people being there than it is on the water to run the data centre. However, his comment was he just sees it as a media play, and that's when he shut it down and said, good luck to all. So interesting, after the letter, that the government's take is the exact opposite of the citizens' concern last week. And then the other thing for everybody to watch, and if they've read it, is the oil in Lacombe County. Those numbers were real, and so is the oil, being the third largest. It would be the largest oil outside of Fort McMurray and Leduc, but it's going to take millions of cubic meters of water to get it going. It's my report.
All right, thank you. Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barkley. I did not submit a report, but I did.
I am shocked.
I know. I'll ask you to record that too for the first time ever. I had 2 meetings in the last 2 weeks. One of them was 5 minutes long, so what can I say? But I did attend the Mountain View Regional Water Services Commission meeting, and just a couple of things of note. We're going to be making public a new website. So part of the reason for wanting some enhanced communications is as a tool for the Water Commission, but also as a tool for the members to be able to send people to the Mountain View Water website to get information, to get really important information. Historical information, but as well as good information about the processes and what's in your water and that kind of thing. So they've done a really good job on that, and that'll be made live here in the next coming weeks. As well, we spent a bunch of time and approved some new bylaws relative to the removal of FOIP and the new introduction of protection of privacy and access to information and fees legislation. So that work is all has been done and is all current now, and that will be on the website as well.
Perfect, thank you. I have no report. We'll go to upcoming events next, please. Just have a motion to accept the upcoming events as information, please. Councillor McKellar.
Mayor Barkley, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and then we'll have a motion to go in camera. Councillor Hill.
Barkley, I'll make a motion that we move in camera as per MGA 197-2 ATIA 29.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. You want to just take